and job.
Yes, yes. Department and divisions. Yes. Any organization from the project unit, business unit, right?
Okay.
So what you can do is for simple example, right? Simple example, I think we had that notepad. I don't know. One minute. Yeah. So if you take this example, right? Let's say
Okay.
Oracle support EBs. Okay, that's our
Mhm.
department, right? So people who are creating projects, okay, for this EBs department, okay,
Okay. Okay.
so they should not be seeing any projects for
Yeah.
um, cloud projects, okay, and cloud should not see EBs, right?
Okay.
So how do you gonna restrict? So based on the organization level security, you can restrict them,
Okay. Got
okay.
it.
So that's the simplest example I can.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then under that manage data user access, right? So whenever you align with the role, right, you will see that security context comes against that role. Let me show you that. So currently, there is data access at ledger level security, right? So let me project account. Just user. So, so whatever the security is available at context, so there is no, I think it's not the case. Yeah. So whatever security context available, right? You can set your security context accordingly. Okay. So, but if I just change it to project manager, then more security context is available. See, yeah. And project organization classification. When I choose this, right, I'll have option of choosing my organization.
So the security context depends on the role. So when you earlier when you select the accountant, we
Yeah,
have only PO and ledger, right? Now it came at different values.
right,
Okay.
right.
So are these configurable? Can we customize?
Yeah, you can customize roles, right? So security context you cannot customize. That is something comes as a C-rate. Okay.
I mean, suppose if I
Hmm.
create a new role and I can make use of what security context value should display, I can do that, right? Example, say, um, for example, if I create role, I can say security context as either um, business unit or project or classification, not any other values.
Yeah, so that depends on yeah, so that is possible only if you have security or data security policies, okay, configured in that fashion, okay. Because when you customize the role, right, there is one aspect under the job duty, what all data security policies you can assign. Data security policies means conditions you can assign. So if if there it permits, okay, that additional value, right? Business, let's say reference data set, organization classification, then it is possible, right? You can't like think of anything, right? For example, project classification, and you want to set a security context over project classification or whatever your element to it, right? Then it may not be possible. But whatever the context which Oracle gives you as an out of box, only that values are possible. So to answer your question, yes, it is possible to set security context based on whatever security policies are available for that role to align with it, not any other thing. Okay, you're getting a point, right?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Wait, I have one more question on the same screen once
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah. Tell me.
Okay, so I haven't quite exactly understood the difference between the options just below the task title, the manage data access for users, right? So there are two actually options there: users without data access and users with data access. What exactly is the difference? Why is it? Why do we have those? Like, is it just showing that the users obviously the second one is pretty obvious, users with data access, so it shows the list of users and then what data access do they have.
Yeah.
But what's why do we need the first one, users without data access? Is it to check the what which user does not have access to what? I quite
No.
haven't understood.
Yeah. So there are certain roles. Okay. Let's say employee is one of the roles. Uh, these are abstract roles which does
Sure.
not need any data access, right? Okay, because
Right.
their data access is defined on the basis of which legal entity they belongs to, which department. They we already assign employee on the payroll legal entity, right, and the
Right.
department.
Right.
So yeah, so that kind of roles, right, where we cannot set data access, application implementation consultant, application implementation manager. When you do configuration, you should have access for everything, right? Because of configurational roles, right?
Right.
So that case, right, it will give you uh, the user, okay, and their list of roles, okay, that does not had any access. Even if you just simply create a role has been created to you or created for you, right? But the data access has not been given. You can simply query that this rule is there, but there is no context, right? Or the data access will be. So it's just like an additional search facility. So it gives you that additional. So only one is available, right? So
Okay. Can
yeah,
you can we look at one example in the username?
yeah.
If you could just type CNL, CNL. Let's see if you get some,
ELL.
and then search.
Okay. Yeah. CNL ERP is this the one?
Yeah, and then search. Let's say. Okay, so switch to user with access data.
Okay. Copy this. You can see
Yeah.
that
No,
right side.
keep the same. Yeah. So now, so
No,
here's what I.
user change, right? That's why I
Yes.
copied it. So, click here.
Oh, okay. It changes.
Yeah, it changes. That's why it's not good design.
Oh, I was okay. Maybe this is what I was doing. It changed. Okay.
So if when you switch back from here to here, right, user it will
Right.
change. But if you switch now, it is same. I just pasted, but if I go just close this, open it again, right? Uh, this is the problem. Bug or you can say not good design. Again, now we are not in project financial management. That's go back and convert. So here I pasted this. It changed. It just default. It takes something default which is available, and
Okay.
yeah, you have to keep changing this.
Okay. Can you change?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so here with users with data access option chosen, we have the security context there and then the security context value. So the primary ledger is where the username has the roles are assigned are these three, and there's a primary ledger attached to it. Okay, so this is fine, but if we switch to users without access,
Yeah.
without data access, so what does this mean? There is no security context value
Yes.
appearing now.
Yeah, there is a security context. So what it means that these roles are super user roles. It has access to everything. Okay, there is no
No restriction on the data.
Yeah, no restrictions over data. Exactly.
Okay, okay. So without data access, it means you have full access.
Yeah, you have full access, right? That's what with data access means you're restricting it, right?
Okay,
To certain operating units, you can say, or only there's Canada later, right? So you cannot
right.
say anything on US later. That is what it means.
Okay, okay, understood.
Okay, and these are the only security contexts available by Oracle. So you cannot add more to this. So you have to like play with this if whenever you customize and whatever available, only that can be used. So project organization classification is one of them. Reference data set is one of them. This is what we generally use. Ledger is one of them. Business unit, that's what we use. This is all used in FA, and the rest is like supply chain management. Use this for item organization.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay. All right. I think okay, we're good.
Rohit, sorry, lastly, I'm having one doubt related
Yeah.
to project classification. In project classification, we are having two types, right? Project owning and expenditure. So here expenditure, we will be using when the data will be importing from the subledgers. Whether my understanding is correct or it's vice versa. Like project owning classification is only when we are using the project module, we will be using it, and expenditure means for from subledgers like PO, AP, expenses. If we are importing the data from there, then we will be using.
Yes. Yes. You're right. So that's what I mentioned, or being used at time of timesheet and expenses. So
Oh.
these organizations, whenever whatever the organization use, right? Only these classified organizations will appear. Okay, at the time of use. Okay, and at the time of project creation, only these classified organizations will appear in the list of only. That is what it means.
Means only project module can be used when we are using project owning classification. If
Yes, these classification organizations will be used by other applications if they want to enter a data which is project related. Timesheet is project related, expense project related, acquisition project related, purchase order project related, right? So all these information, right? Inventory and everything, right? Manufacturing. So
yeah.
if they are using project related, then they will be only used organizations which are classified as expenditure information.
Okay.
Right?
So
Rohit, who can create both these organizations? So project owning organization versus project expenditure owning organization. I believe the project owning organization will only be created in the project accounting module or the equivalent in Fusion. But project expenditure owning organization could be created even by other departments, because as you said, you mentioned yesterday's example where somebody from other department was charging to to the project in our department is
Right.
who creates these and who has control of creating these two organizations.
So yeah, so I think I explained this, that department from HCM, Human Capital Management, they always create this organization. Okay.
Okay,
It is
both.
everything.
Okay,
See, it's always a department. Okay. Then it classify under PPM whether you own it for project creation or whether you own it for expenditure owning, or ideally in 99%, as I mentioned, both are same. Right? Let's classify both.
yes,
Right? That's what we have
yes,
seen. Right? So, so it's a PPM department. So PPM super user, or you can, how do you say, the business user, right? The users. They give you list. Okay, that
okay,
what organization should be what. Then functional, like you people, okay, uh, functional consultant classify them. That's it. Mhm.
okay,
Got it?
So
okay,
from HCM,
understood.
it will sync over to FS.
Sorry?
Whenever you create anything, whenever you create any department in HCM, that will sync over to FSCM, FS system.
Yeah. Department is central, right? It's a common entity, right? It's a common sharing configuration. So it will be available for you, right? Yesterday we created department first, and then we classified the organization. So department, when it created, right, it classified as a department. Okay, only one row was there, and then it was available for us for another classification, which we did, and we saw, right, 3 rows were available, right? Three
Yeah,
rows were.
yeah. My question is that FS and HCM is in the same system or two different systems?
It's one cloud, no? It's a
Oh,
one
okay.
cloud, right? We do
Yeah,
not
then we don't
have
need. Okay.
separate URL for HCM, separate URL for PPM.
Okay.
We're not doing that,
Okay.
right? It's
Got
only
it.
one URL. This URL.
Okay.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So let's move on. I don't where I was. So yeah, we have to cover a lot. Yeah. So you understood project unit, you understood classification. We have set up project unit options, correct?
Yeah.
Set assignment, we will check when we connect on the reference data set. Okay, we are parking out. Okay. Organization hierarchies and classification, we have already seen that of tree, right? We have configure. Okay, it's the same thing. Project organ classification we have seen in detail. Now you guys know what it. So extremely important configuration is configure product and business function. Okay. So let me click, and there is a scope here, right? So what scope what scope determines or decides this? Which business unit, okay, or operating unit in e-business suite you are configuring this option, okay? Or in another terms, in e-business suite world, we were setting up implementation options, right? So this is nothing but this is implementation option. Okay. So let's select scope, select and add view, apply and go. We have something called DLF, right? DLF US business unit. So this is what we will be using, and then additionally we'll configure this, or you can, I'll give you exercise or assignment to come up one, configure it, or create at least 10 view, right? Let everyone configure it with your own name, right? So I'll leave up to you, and then we will also see the rapid spreadsheet also. So let them close and see what we have. too many. So those who are from ED's background, I think they will relate. Right? So there is a hierarchy, organization hierarchy and tree structure, right? So we already seen we have only one tree structure, right? Which is we are going to use this tree structure, right? Now we can maintain separate tree structure also, right? And we can maintain tree structure for reporting, right? For for project creation, maintenance and management, and expenditure organization hierarchy, right? So we have option of creating three different hierarchies also. But as a standard or best practice, I haven't seen any customer who were maintaining three different hierarchies. They were always maintaining one hierarchy. The advantage is the it's simplified, your organization tree. Second, maintenance is easy, right? And then your operational transaction is also easy, right? So we will be using the same hierarchy. Okay. The tree name, like I think we gave something starting with PPM. Yeah, PPM DLF training organization.
Daddy, what is this?
Version is 1.0, and this is our business unit.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay. So I think yesterday I gave you some assignment of adding project in it. Okay. In this hierarchy, but I think nobody would have done that. Nobody did that. So
Are you in the class?
use different details for project. Okay.
Wait,
So
can
even
you mute everybody else, please? There's some background
background?
noise. Yes,
All right.
there's somebody talking.
Awesome. Okay.
Can you
Fine.
mute everybody else?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm just searching at option where I
This is
can
your
move
class?
directly.
No, class is going on.
See, there's.
Another
I
trainer.
can hear somebody talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, that's fine. Let me mute. I think mute all. Yeah. Okay, I mute everyone now. All right. Okay. So yeah. So if I want to use a different hierarchy, then only choose this option. Otherwise, we are maintaining only one hierarchy. So I'll just remove this option. Okay. So, okay. Now, the accounting period. Okay. The calendar is automatically defaulted. Okay. DLF accounting calendar based on the primary ledger. Okay. So since we're using this primary ledger, our when we define business unit level function, right? That what the functions this business unit is gonna carry, and which is the default primary ledger and default legal entity. At that option of that configuration, this has been taken care. So these all will defaulted, based on that configuration. Business unit level, business function configuration. Okay. So the calendar is also defaulted, which you cannot change. Use different accounting and project management. So I think people from e-business background, they remember that there is a checkbox under the implementation option. Use common accounting period, right? So that what it means that your whatever GL period you have defined will get copied or will get used in PPM also. So you don't need to define a separate calendar. Okay. But it is like rarely or sometimes if the calendar is different. Okay, in such a situation where you have monthly jail calendar but weekly PA calendar, right? Then you can define a separate calendar for projects, and then use this option. Okay, use different accounting and project accounting period. Okay, so when this word accounting comes, what it means that GL accounting. Hmm? And when this word project accounting is the project accounting, then it enables the option like what project accounting calendar you have to use. Then you get a list. So whatever calendar you define, the weekly calendar is uh, also uh, it's also being considered. Okay. Any questions, because this is very crucial concept and this need to
So
understand
yeah,
correctly.
so right. So just one question here. So we can
Mm-hmm.
have weekly calendar, right? So when the business required this weekly calendar, right? You just mentioned that we can have weekly calendar or like or and second point is we have not created this DLF accounting calendar or system will create automatically, right? When we define our what I want to say is chart of account or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute. I'll be back. 1 minute. Yeah, so question is, in which business situation you will have weekly calendar?
Yes, right, right. And second point is we have not created this DLF ACC calendar, right? Is it is system will create automatically?
So this is created by finance, right? Finance functional user,
Okay,
functional
okay.
person. Because they
So
created
when
the ledger, they need to have calendar, right?
okay,
Sorry, they need to have calendar.
okay. So the calendar which they have given the name for GL, so system will pick the same calendar, right?
Hmm.
Name. Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. So system will be. Now, your
Rohit, on the accounting period section,
yeah,
is it related to, like in EBS, we have PA period and
yes,
PAGL period?
exactly. You are right. Absolutely. So
And
this is
so,
GL and this is PA.
right, right. And I guess the PAGL period is really the mirror image of the GL period. And then PA period is, if there's any difference, then we have the option to set up the PA period differently than
Right,
the GL period, but they eventually merge.
right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. They eventually merge or they use the common.
But they're equal, yeah.
Yeah, equal.
Somewhere
Yeah,
they are.
correct. So that is what it is, right? So we are in month of July, right? Uh, July. Let's assume it's 2020. So, we are in month of July, and we are starting from here. We are starting from this is first month. Let's say, right? Fiscal calendar. Yeah, it's first month, right? So you will have let's say a GL period and PA period as M1, M1, month one, right? So you have August here, it's a month two, M2, sorry, and M2. This is when you use uh, common accounting GLPL period, right? When you use common. But now in situations, right, you can have you can have uh, a different periods, right? Then you will have M1 here. Let's make it in GL period, GA period. So this is M1, but this will be week one. Okay, M1 week M1, week 2, week 6, week 5. Right? So this is also possible. Now, why would customer will use this? This is okay. Everyone understands. Very basic. Okay. So this is again uh, some of the industry, right? They use weekly period. Why do we use weekly period? Because you want to capture your profit and loss, or you want to capture your cost weekly, but revenue monthly, right? Uh, revenue monthly in the sense you want to like compare that your GL you're closing monthly, okay, but your subledger you're closing in a sense you are recording weekly, so that you record your weekly cost, okay, and compare your weekly profit and loss also, right? So that your granular level of uh, cycle of your profit and loss will be weekly and not monthly. If you want to capture it as for monthly, then just keep this as common. But at the granular level, it can capture a weekly also. So weekly timesheet of 40 hours, right? For Oracle department, right? Imagine 40 hours for one person, like if there are 100 people, right? So like 4,000 hours, right, of cost, which is approximately a rate of $100 per hour, right? So we calculate, right? So that much of your actual cost and the revenue you are gonna accumulate, right? Which is again gonna split weekly and with the margin. So you can capture your entire profit and loss per week as well. Okay. So basically, to drive your financial reporting at the at most granular level, you will have your weekly periods in projects and monthly periods in J. Hope I answer your question.
Yes, right. Thank you.
So can we create uh, multiple project accounting business function and associate to the same BU?
Yeah, so now I gave you that exercise, right? So we have DLF, PPM, DLF training US business, unit, right? We created one more, right? So you can still associate the same calendar, okay, to the new business unit as well, okay. And if you have the same weekly calendar, you can refer weekly calendar, the same weekly calendar. And if you can, one business unit you want to use one calendar, another business unit you want to use another calendar, that is also possible. Okay, for example, now if I just it's so complicated, right? So let's say DLF is using this calendar, right? This calendar, but we have PPM, DLF, something business unit, PPM, DLF, training business unit, right?
Yeah,
Then
definitely we can use for a different BU, but my question is, can we create multiple project accounting things and can we associate to the same BU? Business unit one to many, I mean to say, between BU and project accounting. Is it the
yeah,
relationship is one to many?
which relationship? Like we have business unit relationship.
BU to project accounting, I mean to say.
You mean like
Business unit
yeah, business unit to
to project accounting.
project accounting.
What is the relationship? Is it one to one or one to many?
Okay. So business unit I followed, but when you say project accounting, what do you mean by project accounting? Is it
Yeah,
period
I
you want
mean
to know?
project accounting business function.
Oh, project accounting business
Accounting
function. So
business
nothing but
function. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
particular
Yes.
configuration, right? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. So when you use word project accounting business function, What eventually means is you are setting a BU. That's it, and which is being used by PPM. Okay, it's by PPM, which is nothing but in your wording, it's a project account. Okay, so it is always only one relationship. Okay, so if there is another BU is coming up or is there, right? You will have again one more relationship that CPM DLF training US business unit is being configured for by is being used by PPM or project accounting. Okay, because there is no there is only one project unit. Okay, there is nothing called project accounting anymore, right? There is only business unit and there is a project unit. That relationship we already saw. The accounting configuration is nothing but a BU configuration. That's it. Okay, so there is only one relationship. Hope I clarified. Or not, or I made you confused.
So right, just another question is, if someone just created that their accounting period as a weekly, is it they can change it later? As a support question, right? So if, for example, some businesses just define like, okay, weekly, but after might be 1 year, 2 years, they just thought, okay, it's wrong. So they just want to make it like monthly, right?
I don't know. You have to raise an SR with Oracle because this is
Okay.
a fundamental change, right? Very fundamental change. Imagine, like, monthly to weekly, you change it. Your all tables are stored the data, and you suddenly change it to weekly. How all your reports will look like? I don't know. So this is something that should not be like entertained, or better you create another ledger, define weekly, and then do ledger balance, movement, conversion.
It's a different project altogether. It's
Yeah,
like a
it's a
migration.
different.
It's not
It's
like we had similar issues with one of the client, and
okay.
Oracle said that they don't support this type of stuff. You have to create another operating unit
Okay.
in the old version, and in
Okay.
this new version, I think you have to create another business unit
Yeah.
and migrate everything to that.
Yeah, of course. That's what my theoretical answer is, also, right? So which matches all your Oracle SR. So yeah, nobody will support it. Your table is stored in a different dimension. Now you're all of suddenly changing the dimension. How your reports will work. Nothing will work. So yeah, that's what it's actually conversion and implementation also, because the ledger you have to create a new ledger, right? And then that you have to configure. So when the new ledger is created, a new business unit is created, a new business unit, you will come here and configure project accounting business function. So, and a new project unit will come here. So I think I don't remember who asked that question,
Yeah.
but there was a confusion.
Yeah, Rohit, can you go to the page, project accounting business function page? Okay, so you configured differently. Okay, so in this business function, you configured owning and expenditure org as a same, right?
Yeah, same.
Same. So in this case, suppose if I create a project under this BU, so that means can't I incur cross charge? I mean,
Okay, you're going
in case of inter-unit billing.
Yeah, you are going too ahead. Okay, so that's fine. So cross charge. Okay, now it is up to your organization. How do you do? Okay, I'll explain this. This is way ahead question, but let me check this. Now, in this case, uh, we talk about Jagan's example, right? He is on SAP department, right? And our project in Oracle department, right? So Oracle comes here. This is our Oracle department hierarchy, right? So So the Jagan working on Bank of America project is somewhere here, right? But Jagan is actually in another department. Okay. When he is in another department and that department is nowhere here. Okay. It is in a different BU altogether, a different business unit, a different legal entity, right? Because SAP is, although like company is same, right? SAP is paying, SAP is different, right? So
Okay.
the so now in this situation, okay, the cross charge is happening across BU and legal entity. Okay,
Yeah.
then
Yes.
this comes under intercompany scenario,
Okay.
right? So in this intercompany scenario, okay, Jagan is being paid by SAP, okay, and Jagan is finally being billed by Oracle, right? Now Jagan is um, Jagan Jagan is uh, Jagan is finally billed by Oracle from BOA customer, right? And Jagan is being charged back by Oracle to SAP department. Okay. So when SAP will see their P&L, profit and loss, right? So what they'll see, okay, Jagan, oh, we paid salary of, let's say, monthly salary of we'll take lakh, right? Rupees, right? And how much Oracle gave them? 1.5 lakh. Okay, for Jagan a month, every month. I'm just talking about monthly. Okay, monthly PM. So how much profit they made? 50K. SAP made. Now Oracle. Okay, Jagan, how much Oracle paid to Jagan? Okay, 1.5 lakh. Right? How much customer Bank of America paid Jagan? 2.5.
2 lakhs.
Let's
Okay.
assume, right? We'll just make good profit for Oracle. No? Okay, 1 lakh is their profit. Okay, so this is now these all operations are intercompany operations, right? Because when you are here, you are generating external invoice, right? External AR invoice.
Yeah.
Here you are generating,
Intercompany
yeah, exactly, intercompany
uh,
company payable,
cost payables. Yeah.
and here you are generating intercompany ARE. Okay. Okay. Now, the situation we have talked all about intercompany, but again, this is very common situation. Let's assume Jagan is not from SAP ERP department. Let's assume Jagan is from Oracle department. Okay. Whatever. Okay. So now, if he is from e-business or support guy, okay, Jagan is support guy. Now your project is somewhere here, okay, consulting, okay, consulting department. Okay. Now, what is going to happen is, now Jagan is hired by Oracle, but consulting department, your project, let's say, it's in support department. Now there is a handshake between these two departments, although it's the same company or same main department or same organization. Their rates are different, right? Consulting rates to charge customer is different. Support rates to charge customer is different, right? Now, and this is a rare combination, that support person being hired in consulting, because consulting is, there is a fire, right? And they need people, and they just approach Jagan because Jagan was somehow working on support, but he was got available on a bench. Let's use him. Now, at this case, again, the same thing is gonna happen. Okay, but no invoices will get generated, and that's a cross-charged concept as a intra-company. Okay, and that's why within BU, okay, or across BU, but in same legal entity. Clear? I think I explained intercompany here.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So can we move ahead? I'll just keep this. I don't know what it is. Now this is transaction date or accounting date, right? So we'll just keep transaction. Okay. Costing expenditure cycle start date. All right. So expenditure cycle start date, we'll keep it as Monday. Okay. And this ledger does not have a set book configure, so we'll just keep it as blank. Okay. We will not
Can you
configure this. Yeah.
can you explain what is the expenditure cycle start date?
Yeah, I was about to go.
Okay.
Okay.
In terms of capturing time cost.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll explain. How to explain. So let's we are in India, right? So our weekday starts from Monday to Friday, right? So our working day is this, right? So all your timesheets, expenses, other transactions are following weekly cycle of Monday to Sunday. Okay. Okay. But Middle East, right? If you consider Middle East, their starting days, I think their Friday is off. Sunday is their working day. Sunday to Thursday, right? So their weekly cycle is Thursday to Friday is different. There is a Latin America, I think, I don't know what their cycle starts, but let's assume it's Tuesday, right? Okay, to Saturday or Sunday, right? Then their transaction capture is on a different day. So it depends on what cycle, okay, under your weekly calendar you want to capture your transaction. Okay, so if there is a weekly calendar you're defining, okay, and you want to capture a transaction, to ensure that the expenditure cycle start date should be exactly like, aligned with all your weekly period, how you're going to start. Plus it should start along with that particular uh, country or particular legislation, how they are like capturing or booking their cost or accepting the transaction. So we will be keeping like America, US, right? US, India, Europe also will always keep Monday. Okay. But Middle East will keep as it is Sunday. Right? So that's how it is. Follow?
Yeah, yeah. Suppose if someone works overtime on Sunday, so then that cost won't come into the project cost.
No, that will come, right? Because Monday to Friday
Monday
they are
to
working,
Sunday?
but we are considering Monday to Sunday. No? So the next Monday, okay,
Okay.
next Monday cycle it will not come. Right? Yeah, next Monday cycle it will not come. Okay. You got it right? It will come.
Okay, got it.
It will come. All right. Let's move on. Asset book is, I'll ask ERPTREE to define this asset book. So once it is there, we will be able to use it for a capital purpose. Okay. So again, this cross-charge option I explained you, right? Will keep the date type as transaction. This will keep us corporate. This is exchange rate only. For how do you convert your cost, right? That's the purpose. Processing method within business unit. I just told you, right? It's will consider border name. Processing method between business unit. We will consider between business unit. We will consider border length again. All right. Over default, we'll see border length. Okay, when we'll come to that intercompany scenario. Right? So override default processing method, we are not gonna override it as of now. Okay. So project unit, right? So project unit, I think we have created one project unit, something called PPM DLS, right? So now here is the option where you can associate the project unit, okay, for this business unit. Somebody was asking, right? And when we were trying to configure project unit, we were not seeing this business unit, right?
Yeah,
So
got it. Yeah.
yeah, so this is the place which is, if you have multiple project unit, you can add it again. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay. 7 plus. Now that scope is RDLF business unit. So that's the operating unit. So any question? I explain you in very detail. The battery is dying out. Okay, let me charge it. Okay. Yeah, any questions?
Rohit, I've got a question. Other day, I think I don't know which day it was. We were configuring the project manage project unit configuration, and there we defined what the project number was and weekly hours and default sets and other setup like commitment type, what sort of commitment is to be considered in projects, whether it's requisitions, PO, what the status is. And now what we are defining is we are configuring the project accounting business unit function. So in EBs, both were in the same one setup screen. Now
Yeah.
that's been split it into different here. Is that correct, or I missed something?
That's correct. Absolutely correct.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct. But splitting is really important. Otherwise, at one place you've been restricted, right? So
Just to get my head around, so what is the benefit of having this in a two different places other than what it was there in the EBIS?
yeah, so I told you, right? Yeah.
What additional things that cloud brings it by splitting this into two different places?
Splitting these two different places, what cloud brings in is the practice. Okay, the project practice. I think the fundamental of project unit when I explained you somewhere here. Should I explain or in different? What should I explain? Yeah, practices. So see, splitting, how does it help? Okay, so consulting projects, right? You have a practice where your numbering is in this fashion. Okay, support, you have a practice, your numbering is different fashion, right? So now you have PPM consulting project unit 1, support 1, right? Now this has been split now in cloud, right? So what you have done is, since it has split, okay, your business unit is 1. You just simply reference or simply attach this to, right? Now,
Ah.
now you simply attach it, right? Now what happens is, you get another business unit, okay? Now that business unit is also consulting, fortunately, right? So you don't need to create another project unit. You just use this consulting one, right? So your reusability factor is increased when you split. You getting my point?
Okay. Yeah. So when we create, so we just create a new business function and associate that project unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got
All right.
it?
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right. Yeah.
can I create multiple project units and associate to the same BU by creating multiple business functions?
No, yeah. So you can multiple project unit. Yeah, you can have multiple project unit. Uh,
And
and
I will
also
associate those to the
Mhm.
business to one single BU by creating different multiple business functions.
multiple business functions.
Function.
I'm just like little
I
bit.
mean project accounting business functions.
Okay. You give me example, like, I think now when what exactly you try to achieve in real world.
So yeah, in real world, suppose um, let's say in one BU, the reason I'm creating project units, multiple project units, because I want different auto numbering, and I have a different calendar month. See, for some resource, I want to do weekly pay. For some resource, bi-weekly or monthly. If that is the case, why can't I create a multiple project units? And since I created multiple project units, I can configure business functions, multiple business functions, and associate to the same BU, to single BU.
Yeah. So that is a very interesting. Yeah. So if, for different one BU, you can have multiple project units, okay, and you can, since project units are multiple, they assumed with a different options for reporting and project number structuring, right?
Or calendar, or
Calendar is not right example. Calendar is nothing to do with your project unit. It is to do with
or
yeah.
owning org or expenditure org. Let's say for one project unit, I want to have a different org between expenditure and project org. For other project unit, so I want to have same details.
So again, owning org is not a good example. Okay. So we saw, right, all the organization in a tree, okay, in the tree, which is associated with the business unit, right? At the definition of accounting business function are available, despite what.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Or we have a expenditure cost start day cycle, right? If that is different, let's say for one project unit that starts from Sunday, the other project unit that starts from Monday. If that is the case, why can't I create a different business function and associate to the two different project units within same BU?
No. So that's what there is an issue. That your accounting business functions, right? Okay. And so this accounting business function uh, has uh, expenditure cycle started Monday here. Now, if we have another PPM DLF training business unit, right, whose accounting start can be Tuesday, right, instead of Monday. Okay, then you will have another BU2. Okay, this is BU1. Okay, sorry,
But
BU1.
I don't want to create a new business unit within the same BU. I want to differentiate these rules by creating, because within the same BU, why I'm creating different project units, because my rules are different. So that's why I created multiple project units within the same BU.
Mhm.
Uh, then can I differentiate? I mean, by having a different business function, because
Yeah, not really,
suppose let's
because
say, yeah, in
hmm,
the legacy system, I have a BU, but in the upcoming system, so I don't want to create, my rules are different, so I don't want to create two different BUs, because in the legacy I have only one BU. So if that is the case, can I have different business functions?
mm, see these business functions, right? These business functions.
Okay,
So now this business function decides what should be your week start date. Let's assume there is nothing. Only this is there, right? Week start date. Okay. Let's assume you don't see anything here. Only this configuration. Okay. Then then this belongs to this business unit, which is BU1. Now, if you want this to be start with Tuesday, okay, then it cannot be BU1. It has to be BU2, because the BU is primary, because these business accounting business functions are in scope only with the business unit and not any other project unit or any other way. So if you have this kind of requirement, right, that some cycle expenditure cycle you want to start on Tuesday, some on Monday, then there is no other way but to configure two different business units.
okay, got it. Yeah,
Got it, right?
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so my battery is dying out. Okay, I'll have to put it on charge. Can we just take 5 minutes break and we'll be back? Okay, by that time I'll just take the break also. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So, 44 will be back. Okay. Just keep it on mute and on share. Resume recording. Okay. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. I think let's move on. I think we are good. We covered a lot. So, yeah, I think we already seen. Let's move to the foundation. Okay. Okay. Congrats. We move to the foundation one. Let's go to the required one. Okay. So, accounting calendar, we have already discussed that, you can create your own accounting calendar if you want, but you can hire the GL accounting calendar. In our case, which is created as a part of finance functional team, right? Which we used, okay? But you can have created your own accounting calendar also. The accounting calendar creation is, is easy, okay? It's like you can by using this
So once you create a calendar year,
yeah
this calendar will be available from the
yeah
project
list of
accounting
yeah
business function.
yeah
Okay.
yes yes. So it's the same, right? Yeah. So the way the GL calendars and any other calendars get created, right? So we will not be creating it for our configuration. We are reusing the existing calendar. Okay. And let me put the name of the calendar. DLS ECC CAN, right? Okay. So this accounting calendar is created monthly, starting from January 2022, right?
Any
And
option to clone existing calendar and create a new one?
clone. A clone means copy.
Yes.
You mean copy, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you can copy. Yes, you can. There is. I think there is no copy option, but no, there is no copy option. What it gives you that it's easy. It's like there's really no need of copying. Let me creating it here, right? So, monthly. Keep it, so once in here, and when you click next, right, you have to just simply, it's already got created like this. So you have to just simply then keep adding the year. That's it. So there is no need of actually uh, copying the calendar.
Okay. Got it.
Right? It's so easy. Right? It's already created for you based on whatever cycle you give, right? Monthly, weekly. So currently we get see the frequency of monthly, right? Leave an adjusting period. If you choose pre-adjusting period, then every quarter there will be like adjusting period would have been, and cycle would be based on whatever. It is, right? And then the next year, 23, you just add the year. 24, you add the year, and that's how you uh, have your kind of it. So it's so easy, like.
Where can I give the end date and year or till
Uh,
what?
Yeah, so it is up to you, right? Why you would have end date? So end date like in period end date, you know? This is the end date or the calendar end
Uh,
date.
yeah, calendar.
There is no like, you know, you can keep adding the years on. You know?
So once I give the first start date, then till how many years it will generate the entire calendar until
Until that
she
year end, no? Because we choose calendar year, right? So it has generated for December. So I can click on add year and then now it is 23 until December. Okay. Save, and I keep adding here until
got it.
you immortal and add it until go back to ending date 4712. So yeah, I think okay, right. It was joke. Please don't mind.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hate this. Keep revolving. Okay, so let's move. Okay. Okay. So important. Okay, I'll just capture extremely important, and that will help me to explain you the reference data set and the concept. Okay, and how we're going to use it with example, right? So let's review revenue category. Okay, so Oracle gives you this revenue category for you. I think there are some standard Oracle gives, right? Yeah. So these are like standard. All it starts with Ora, right? So I think that should be enough. Like we don't need to really define any other revenue categories. Okay. So again, the category is nothing but higher level grouping or summarized grouping, right? How we want to categorize, right? So if I want to give you the real time example, okay, then the real time example is your IT development, okay, IT development project, right? Now, IT development project, you have your IT cloud implementation project, like actual cloud implementation is happening, and IBM is doing that implementation, right? Now, under that cloud implementation, right, you would have design uh, design workshop. Okay? Then you would have SIT, UAT, production, okay, okay, and then application service. Right? So, application service. Now, if there are milestones, right? Milestones, uh, first milestone, okay, second milestone, so second milestone, third milestone, okay, and this is another milestone, right? Then, then what you can do is, okay, you can actually uh, identify, when this milestone is complete, right? So you can cover that, it's a design workshop, sign off, okay, revenue. You earn revenue when the design workshop sign off happens. Then at the SIT, you earn integration test revenue, something. So if your organization in this fashion at that granular level, if they are categorizing and reporting your revenue, right? Then you will need to define such revenue category at high at detail level. But let's say in this development project, right? Uh, in this development project, since your management is smart, okay, they just wanted to say in IT development, how much is my uh, functional consultant, you know, revenue, right? How much is revenue we incurred in selling license, okay? How much revenue we incurred selling support services, right? Then these things will become category. So you can go one more level up, right? And if you want to track, right, so you will see how much labor revenue, okay, how much is non-labor revenue, right? So you can say how much is labor support revenue or labor consulting revenue. Okay? So these are things used for reporting, accounting, and these are fundamentals, right? So you can create such categories. It's up to you. But what Oracle gives you, these are the standard categories what Oracle gives. If you do not get anything, you can just put it into others. So hope this is clear. This is important.
Is there any category for person complete revenue?
Percent complete is it's a revenue method. It is not a category. It's a revenue method. See,
I mean, mhm.
yeah. So this is how you report whatever revenue uh, calculation happens. Okay. So this is how you report revenue. Now this revenue can be labor revenue can calculate with help of rate that your consultant has $100 per hour. Okay. Or this can be on milestone basis, right? On completion of our workshop sign off, we achieved $30,000 of revenue, right? On completion of my design development, right? Or you can say that on I completed my percentage, right? Percent work 50% of my budgeted value. Then I generated a revenue of $20,000. Right? So what we are trying to tell here is this is a revenue method, okay, and that determine how you calculate revenue, how you report the revenue is something goes under revenue category and not under revenue mix. So hope I clear your or hope I answered your question.
Okay.
I think you're not fully convinced, right? So we will see when the billing, right? What percent completion means.
Yeah. So do we? Is there any category which will differentiate? Okay, this is my as incurred revenue, or this is my fixed fee. At least, is there any category like that? So for labor revenue, we don't put fixed fee revenue under labor revenue, right? Because labor revenue is purely as incurred.
Okay. So as
That will
incurred,
be based on project types, right? So the differentiation will be available once we set up the project types.
yeah. So again, when we will cover, right, revenue plan and bill plan, then we will have understanding of what it mean by as incurred, amount based, rate based, and extension based, right? So as I said, it is the method of calculating revenue. So C and milestone, right? So I gave you example, right? So your project starts, right? Now the functional design document, let's say, right? You are writing on functional design document. Now the agreement with your customer is once the functional design document completes, right? You will have $10,000 in your pocket, or the customer will release $10,000, right? So at that point in time, your event revenue, right, or you generated event, okay. Now that event, you have to associate that, this is what, this is bonus, or this is design workshop, right? So somebody from management, when they see, oh, we got a design workshop revenue, $10,000. Okay. Oh, what it means? Oh, that means the design workshop is completed, right? They won't mentioning that, it is the milestone, it's a fee event, or this is the event type, right? Because we should understand, right, that, when we connect with customer, we have certain agreements, right? At which we think that at that point in time, you will be generating a revenue, and we should, or the management should know, this revenue is for what. Okay. So, so in order to understand this revenue is for what purpose, there we need a revenue category. How the revenue you are calculating, whether it's a fee-based, milestone, bonus, percent complete, percent spent, it is revenue method under revenue plan. Clear?
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah, and then project type does not define. I think somebody was saying, right? Project type. No, project type does not define a revenue method. Okay, or revenue plan. It's nothing to do with project type. It is to do with your uh, bill revenue plan. Okay, or revenue classification. Next one. So likewise, expenditure category, same explanation. Okay. Now we discussed about revenue. Now expenditure category will discuss about cost. Right. So you generated the revenue on your design workshop, okay, or SIT completion. But okay, how did you cost it? Okay, how do you categorize the cost? Again, the costing will be labor, non-labor, very very high level, or anything which is like suits to you, right? Whether it's furniture, fixtures, equipment, or I will give you some standard category, right? So expense charges, right? So how do you cost, right? Your labor, whether it's expense, whether it's within that labor, whether it's employee or contractor. Within that labor, it is consultant or support staff, or functional consultant or technical consultant. It is up to you. It is up to your management how they wanted to see the report. That what the category means. The category can be granular or can be summarized at higher level. The standard and the best practices, it should be higher level. So higher level, when I mean, this is more is granular, this is mid granular, and this is higher level. So this category should be like this: labor, non-labor. Okay, maximum it will go to consultant labor and support labor, or function consultant labor, or technical labor. Okay, so hope the expenditure category is also clear. You can create your own, and Oracle gives you some predefined. I think you should be good to use the predefined one. Any questions here? We'll be using predefined one. Okay, or will not be creating it. At most, if you want to create it, I can just create one. like anything stuck to you or not followed, let me know before we move on. Okay. Expenditure types. This is extremely important, and this is where I will explain the reference data set. Okay, and I stopped myself because then I want to give you this classification because these terminologies are very new and difficult to relate or difficult to catch. Okay, if you are new to people. So now these are categorization as a grouping of your revenue and expenditure. Right now, let's go one more level down. Okay, I think the more granular is better. So let's go one more level down. So now, when people working on this design workshop, right, sign up with your customers, right? What all the activities are happening, right? So um, consultant, okay, are flying to, right? They are staying in hotel. They are incurring airfare, right? Then they are working Monday to Friday. Right? They are entering time shift. They are taking leave, right? They are taking training, right? This is too much. So now in these, like these all activities are happening. Now everything is associated as a cost, right? So there is an airfare, there is a hotel cost, right? There is an airfare cost, right? Timesheet is this, you know, their cost rates. Yeah. Leaves are non billable cost charged to the company, right? Savings again non billable. Okay. Cost, right? So, point is when everything is cost, right? You need to capture all these costs, right? So hotel and airfare, this you will capture in expense, right? Timesheet you capture in timesheet application. This thing you'll capture leaves will put leaves application. Okay. Training is another legacy application. So again, this is you'll be capturing hours, right? Number of hours is on leave, right? Number of hours the person was in training, right? So when you uh, capture this cost, right? And the expense is in currency, right? Airfare expense in currency. So all these cost elements, right? You will be capturing under different applications. So you need a address, right? Or a pointer, right? To capture this cost elements either in external external application or other application in same cloud or in PPM. Then we need expenditure. Right. Any question? question. Okay. All right. So now this every expenditure type is associated, need to associate it, mandatory. All these stars are mandatory, right? So need to associate it with the expenditure categories and revenue categories. The unit of measure, okay. Rate required if it is non-labor. Receipt of sales if it is retirement, okay, capitalization, okay. And there are other type classes is also important. We'll see, right? So what we'll do is we'll just create one PPM consulting layer. Okay. The expenditure category, I think is just PPM something we created as PPM level. Okay. There's something PPM revenue category. Since it's a labor, right? What elements we are trying to capture is R, right? So I'll just choose R. Right? Do I need to have a rate required right now? No, because this rate required functionality works for non-labor expenditure type classes, right? So right now we'll not give it. Proceed of sales, no, we don't need it right now because the proceed of sales is related to asset capitalization. When you are retiring an asset and you need to capture the cost of retirement, then only the proceed of sales comes in picture. So let me change this. You must assign at least one additional sales. Right. Now this is where the reference data set comes. So first of all, the expenditure type classes. So we have these many expenditure type classes, and these are standard list provided by us. We cannot add any of the list of values here. So when we are looking at adding the expenditure type, which is capturing R, I must need to use straight type. Okay. If it is regular hours, then straight type. If it is overtime, then I must use overtime. Okay. So this is how it's internally classified. System is internally classified as my transaction type. Right? If it is for payable invoices, then I should be using supplier invoices. If it is non-labor transaction, then we should be using wages. Okay. If it is not reside in any of this and inventory and expense, then it should go as a miscellaneous, right? So all your expenses, airfare, hotel, you know, if you are capturing in that particular application, it should be classified as an expense transaction. Okay. A burden transaction will see when the burden comes in picture. But okay, the transactions in inventory, which you have stocked, right? In your inventory, that the items you stock in inventory, they are stored under inventory, like with the classification of inventory. So working process is something which is a discrete manufacturing will be using it to capture a cost of items which are getting manufactured. We will be rarely using this. We will use wages for non-labor, such as I want to consider uses of your Xerox machine, right? So if client is charging, let's say $1 per copy, right? Then 50 copies will give you the revenue of $50, right? So then that is what like you're trying to capture or cover the uses of machines. So supply invoices, stable invoices, right? Straight time, normal hours and time. Overtime, extended hours, right? Which you want to calculate more than 8 hours or 9 hours in a day, right? So miscellaneous, if does not fit anywhere, then it will be miscellaneous. Inventory is your manufacturing inventory where you're stocking the parts, right? in your warehouse. Then we'll classify them. Okay? Expense reports. I think it's airfare and all your travel which is related to expense. Any questions there?
So did you say that this is the way or this is the list that has been provided by Oracle and it cannot be changed?
No, yeah, it can be.
Okay.
So assign search. Okay. So here I have a list of reference data sets. It is a big list, right? Okay. And there is a standard provided list of common reference data is common. Right now I'm using common. Okay. And I will explain you what it is. Right? So
Rohit, I've got a
yeah,
question. Sorry, before you proceed.
yeah.
On that proceed of sales, you mentioned that will be used when you do the asset retirement. Would you mind explaining a little bit further on how does it get used?
So yeah, I will explain, but then we haven't actually touched upon the capital project, right? Then
Okay.
you if retirement comes when you understand the capitalization. Okay, then I have to explain the entire capitalization. Then the discussion will go on different organs. So can we park this question and then we will connect on the capital project? I will explain you.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So yeah, okay. Anything on other than this capitalization or any like basic fundamentals? So let's understand, what is this code is being used, right? So when I assign this set, right, at these expenditure type, or you can say transaction type, what I'm trying to do over here is, okay, I'm trying to, tell systems, right, that look, right, all my expenditure types, okay, which I configure are shared across across project unit and across business unit. Okay. Okay. So uh, so what it means? Okay. Now we will go back to our example. Since we have, yeah. So we have project unit called PPM consulting one, PPM support one, PPM auditing, let's say one. Now these project units, okay, I set up as common as a my reference data set access or data set code, right? So okay, I set up this way, right? Now here I set up as specifically as a support. Let's say I created a support and reference data. So you remember when I created this project in it, okay? The system was asking what is a reference data set, and I always preferred as a standard practice use common, right? But I this time when I created another project in it, did not use common, but I used support. Okay, so I intentionally did this. Why? Because now my situation, like I'm in situation, right? That the expenditure types which I configured, I don't want to share to everyone, like everywhere, right? I want to restrict, private it for my purpose. Okay. Now I just public it, right? So, uh, that's, So now this is public, right? I want to make it private. Okay. Why I will make it private is because uh, there is a use case, right? There are situations. The situation is in my organization when I call when I hire people and they are on the project on consulting, they fly as I explained somewhere here, right? So they fly to the customer, they charge, they stay in hotel, their expenses, right? Then they take the training, special training for cloud and all, right? So customer pays for that training and right? So now, but in support, right? Nobody flies. They just in their ODC or in their space, they just support the project remotely or in the office, right? They don't frequently fly. Only rare conditions they fly, but they don't frequently fly. Auditing, they may fly, may not fly. Okay, we don't care. Okay, right now we can do all this from anywhere. So only there is clearing this too, right? So now these expenditure types, which I made it public, if I use common as my reference data set code, then all these expenditure types are available. Okay, when the project belongs to this BU, okay, and this project unit consulting, okay, all my airfare, hotel, and other labor expenditure types, which is shared here, right? Okay, which is marked as common, right? With as a reference assigned set as a common are available here. Okay, but in support, when the project is related to the support project unit, where people don't fly, right? And now you are uh, you are like you are trying to charge the project, okay, for airfare for what person, which is support project. Then there should not be then only those expenditure types should be visible which are meaningful for the support. Airfare, uh, then hotel, it should not be visible. Taxi, yes, it should be visible. Taxi is common, right? Taxi is common for consulting, common for support, common for everything. So they can take taxis and they can visit customer, but they cannot stay in hotel. They cannot use airfare, right? Uh, right? So so in that case, my every expenditure type should be associated with a with a correct reference data set code which you have created and being used, okay, at that project unit and business unit. Okay, so these project unit and business units are a reference set determinant entity. Okay? And your transactions are actually are being addressed using this determining set activity entity. Okay. So any question at this stage?
Rohit, where did we define this common and support in our steps? It was already there and we selected those.
So common is already defined. You don't define it. Okay.
Okay.
But the other one, support, let's say, right? That you can define it under your reference data set.
Where this common, the seeded one?
Yeah,
Is it
common,
seeded?
commonly succeeded one. Yes.
Okay.
Manage a reference data set. So this is set code, right? Common. The enterprise is also seeded one, right? Oracle created. Let me define it support.
So over here, you just define a label, sort of a label you define, and
A label, right? The way we define project in business unit, we just define a label, right? Now, this is managed as assignment for set determined. So these are a reference group, right? So if you look at, right, project, see, project accounting definition, project definition, project transaction type, right? So these are your reference group. So when I click search, right? So project transaction type, okay. So accounting definition gives you, your configuration. So there is a list of, entities. How does Oracle Cloud group, okay, what all entities it groups under accounting definition, under project definition, right? How the I think project types comes under project definition. So these information is also available. Let me, project unit option, project unit set assignment. Yeah. So project unit set assignment, we have defined common set. Okay. Common set as a default set, right? You remember when I defined uh, the common set as
Yeah.
the common value, right? As the default for project unit. So every entity, right? It uh, comes with whatever you define. So if I would have defined it as support, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So project definition and transaction type. So what project unit is gonna determine that my transaction type such as expenditure category, right? So these are transaction types will be determined by with your project unit. Okay. Again, project definition. So type of project, right, will be determined when I mention project definition means what type of project. Okay, project type. We haven't seen that project type yet. Okay, but that is the reference data object comes under determinant factor of project unit of assignment. Okay, so what it means that if I create one project unit, which is PPM support, right, and attach my reference data set code as a support, right, then all the expenditure type which I showed you that that page, okay, uh, wherever I use support as a reference data set code and created a project out of this project type, which is nothing but a project unit from a support, will only give a list of value of support expenditure type. Okay. since we haven't completed, the other configurations, it's difficult for me to, explain. But at least right now, you did not learn project type, right? You only learn project unit, you only learn business unit now, and the expenditure type classification. So consider the expenditure types are nothing but your transaction types, your transaction types, right? Okay. So right now you only learn expenditure types, right? So, and for the expenditure types, you need to define this reference data set. So consider expenditure type as a transaction, project transaction type. Why, when I type, right, I'm just like deleting it, it's being replaced. Okay, so project transaction type comes as expenditure type. Now, if I assign, uh, let's say taxi, right? And if I assign support for a taxi, I'm just making the example. Taxi is not a good example. Let's say support is what we call is support training. Okay? Then if I assign support, right? Okay. So assign support means here on the expenditure type window, where I will be doing it under expenditure type window, right? Or the configuration window. Then I will under project accounting definition, I will have project unit. Okay. Now under this project unit, I will have PPM support project unit, right? Which I'll be assigning as a support as a reference data set. Data set code. Now, when I create a project P1, okay, it is a support project, right? Which is belongs to PPM support project unit, okay, project unit. Then at the time of uh, at the time of uh, yeah, at the time of entering um, entering my miscellaneous expenditure batch, transaction batch, right? I will have only expenditure type available as a list of value is support training. Okay? Because when at the time of entering expenditure batch over the project P1. Okay.
Is it all because of project unit as configured as support?
Yes, absolutely right. Because project unit has configured support, okay, and not common, right? And your expenditure type is also addressing support, right? You are limited with sharing, or you are limited with privatizing your transaction, project transaction type. Got it? Now,
Rohit, would you mind
yeah.
going back to that screen, the previous screen that you had here? Right, you have got on the project transaction type, you have got common. Say
Yeah.
example, I wanted to have the project type of common as, sorry, the reference data set code of common as well as support in your case. Is that possible, or is it only you can have one?
Yeah, it is for PPM DLF project unit, it is common, right? So what it means that everything is accessible. But if PPM DLF project unit 2, you want to restrict with support, then it will be private, not public.
Okay.
Got it? So that's answer your question, right? You can have public or you can have private. You can't have private with, yeah, you can
Okay.
have a hybrid also.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if someone has made an expenditure tab, that is, they have only tagged it to the support, means it won't come into the common. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, yes, yes. So
So in
now,
your case, if someone has created the support as an expenditure type, and that is tagged as a support,
yeah,
even though I have got a common on my, that will that come into my list or not?
one minute, huh? Yeah, say it again. Say it again.
Sorry. So take example of airfare. So airfare or say yeah. So that is now is common. So say let's say we add airfare 1. That was added with a
Support.
code of support. Now since they have made it private to only to support, will
Yeah.
that support be available even for the common, or
No,
it
it's a
won't?
private. No, it won't. No.
Private.
Yeah, but there is one more possibility. Possible. Okay, there is one more possibility. Now auditing, right? Auditing, you create auditing as your reference data set. Okay, you create one more auditing as a reference data set code, and PPM auditing PU project unit, right? These all PUs. Okay? These all PUs. Okay. Now, now, if you created this, right? Now, under support training, let's auditing projects also need support training, right? Then what you can do is you can add one more called auditing here as well. So what will happen is support training. So so now the project P1 is support project, right? Okay. But if P2 project is created as an auditing, okay, let's say let's take this example, P2 project. Okay. Now P2 is your auditing, right? Auditing has reference auditing PP1 auditing. Then it has this is auditing project, right? Now it is belongs to PP1 auditing PU, right? So now when that, let's say there is a time of expenditure entry again over P2 project, right? Over P2 project, and support training is now a reference with support as well as auditing reference data set, right? Then at the time of P2 project, so support training will be also available. Got it? So
Yeah.
you have option of adding one more code here.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Got it?
Thanks.
Yeah. So you have a private, you have public, and you have a hybrid.
Okay.
Okay. So hope I try to explain you based on whatever you learned so far, right? Now this,
Yeah, correct.
yeah.
Uh,
This, yeah.
so same rule applies to the business unit, as you explained for project unit. Same rule applies to the business unit.
Yes, yes, yes. Now,
So
when I mentioned transaction type, I just gave you an example of expenditure type as one transaction type. Since we learned that, okay, there is rate schedule. Okay, now these rate schedule we haven't learned. I cannot give the example, but I'm just giving you the hint. So now this will be determined using business unit determination factor and not the project unit. Okay. Now this is a hint. You will learn slowly. Yeah. Now go ahead and the question.
so that means you're saying that expenditure types I cannot put it as part of the BU, instead project unit.
Yes. So yes.
On what
expenditure-
basis? Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So expenditure type, the determinant factor is project unit and not business unit. Okay. The rate
Okay.
determinant factor is business unit and not project unit. So this is determined by Oracle. Neither you,
Okay,
neither
got
me.
it. Okay, but not both, right?
Not both. There's no sense, right? If it is both, then it's common.
I mean, it can look for a hierarchy level, right? If it is both, it can look for project unit based on that. Can do that, right? Okay. Anyway, so next question is, you're saying private and public. Where do we define? Okay, this common is private, public, and this support is private. Where do we define?
No, you cannot. Common is always public. Other than common is private.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Got it. Huh?
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, any other question? I think before we close for a day.
I just general question is right. So most of time I just for me I have just seen one or two projects, okay, where with the customer the requirement was to add this project in a chart of account, right? This project number in segments, or some of times they just okay, we don't need this project number in segment. So what would be your experience, right? What would be a good design to add this project number in a CO or a not?
Oh, project segment. The project segment is Oracle. There is no good or bad answer. That depends on situation. If customer is already having few segments, okay, company, cost center, business line, product, natural account is obviously there, right? Let's say 6, 7 segments, which are essential, okay, and that entire industry is project oriented industry. For example, the industry which is service industry, IT industry, everything is project, right? Telecommunication industry is service based industry. Not everything is project. Then event based industry is little different. So it uh, depend on type of nature of the business and industry. You can decide whether you want to keep it project. So if your business operations more than 90%, okay, it's project related, or 80% more than 80% is project related, it is better to have project as a segment and track everything over the project. Okay, but it is not compulsory to have the project segment because you already have project subledger, right? And all the data which is related to the individual projects, you can drill down from GL, right? And you can report it over the project. Then it is a duplicate entry. But if you want to avoid that drill down reporting from the subledger and match, exactly the replica or the transactions which you are sending to GL are in detail mode, right, and not much in summarize mode, then it is better to capture project segment in your chart of account. If your chart of account is not crowded, it is has already less, segments. But if it is getting crowded, then you avoid it because it's a duplicate. So there's no right or wrong or good or bad answer. This is depend on the situation. That's how it will be.
Okay. And the second point is, I just gone through this project units, right? So my understanding, just confirm if it's right or not. My understanding is project unit is it's just a segregation of further in business units, right? Means we have one business units and then we have added this project unit. So so for example, consulting and support, we have two project units. So business, they want like how number of projects we have in consulting, right? So they can get the report using this project units, right? So business unit, and then we have one further segregation of business unit, project unit, and then we have that projects, right? Is it right understanding?
Partially true, partially, not fully right understanding. So project unit is segregation, you said. You're right. The reporting, you are right. But it is also managing your practice needs. Okay, because project numbering. Okay,
Yeah, right.
that it drives that. It also drives your reference data sets. Okay,
Yeah,
that
we have given that reference data set on project unit, right?
right,
Right.
right. Okay, it also drives your analytics, right? Your planning options. Okay, which we haven't seen. It is under that reporting and analytics. Okay. Then your project unit it drives your project creation process as well. Okay. So yeah, it is more than that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. I think we'll just closure of the day. Okay. And
Rohit, just got a question. About these videos, we don't seem to be getting the videos quick enough. So is there any way you could do anything from your side? Because we have been, at least I've been trying to contact the coordinator and I don't get enough response on the video. Like it doesn't get shared. Like the yesterday video was not shared until it has not been shared yet. So sometimes I'm logging in from UK and it's quite early for me in the morning. And if I'm not attending one session, I would prefer that I listen to your video when before I come to the next session so that I'm up to the speed. So is there any possibility that you could do something from your side to share that video sooner than keeping it far too late?
so how I always approach is like, once the session ends, right? When I just stop sharing, right, the video gets automatically start completion, right? Recorded. And as soon as it gets complete, right, I share with the ERP team. So within, let's say, 1 hour of completion of filling, it is in the inbox of ERP team. Okay, now I do not have permission to actually send you an email. Okay, that's the problem. Otherwise, I would have like asked your email. I would have directly forwarded to you, right? So that's a constraint, and I'm bind with it. So,
Okay,
And also that
that's
link
actually a
that you
good
mentioned
feedback.
about your Metalink note the other day,
yeah,
that has still not been shared with me. I've been chasing the ERPTREE, but they have not been responding. So I was just wondering if you could have your official word with them to just to share
yeah,
that,
yeah. I will.
you need to
I will.
share. I'm not expecting you to send the video to me directly,
Yeah,
but if you can have a word with them to say that if it can be shared sooner, it will
yeah,
help the people attending the session.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. That note I will download it and I will, just, yeah. So that everything is with me. I already share with them as well. So only thing is they should be sharing with you. Yeah, so I will have a word when I share today's link, right? I will raise your concern, on your behalf, and hopefully things will be,
Thanks.
sorted. It's just a matter of sending email.
Yeah. Rohit, also, is there a possibility that you could give us a list of topics that you will be covering in the following session? So, sometime if the session if the topics are one that where I don't need much guidance, then I can skip those session, and if required, I can go through the videos. Um,
Yeah, sure.
is there a possibility?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even that in the topic list is also shared with your people. They can share with you, but what I'll do is next time onwards, right? I'll try to give you the hint what topics I will be covering because we are following that sequence, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes what happens is, right, I'm lagging, sometimes I'm leading, right? So you may not see the topic, the list which is there, right? It's fully 100% covering that
Yeah,
sequence
I
and
know
time.
it's not quite practical to
Yeah, it's
be
not
go by
practical,
the
right?
books,
So
but
yeah,
just give a high level as to if
yes,
you're talking about say expenditure types, expenditure
yeah,
category, auto accounting, and all the stuff,
right, right.
then it will help us that if that is of very interest to me, then I will make sure that I want to join the session. And if something that I could pick up on a video, then I would prefer to do that, especially
Yeah,
the timing difference for me.
timing. Yeah, got it. So yeah, don't worry. I will try to give you, some hints at what next topic will be. So you understand right now, right? Next topic will be more very fundamental, like on how we set up project type, how we gonna create project templates, okay, and how we gonna create projects. So we will target that first, okay, in next session. And once the project created, we will also learn how we gonna cost, all your costing aspects will be captured in next week. So you can see that next weekend will be like that. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. No worries. So anything else before we drop off and call off our day?
Rohit, whether you will be sharing this notepad notes
Oh,
also? No?
you need this notes also.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
saved this.
right.
I will. Yeah, I will share this also. Yes. Yeah. Only thing is like it's a clumsy. You should understand what it is.
But when we see these notes, I think so we can recollect it.
Yeah, I recollect, no, relate what example I
Oh,
was trying to give you.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, I will share definitely.
Thank you.
All right, man. All right, anything else? I think. All right, have a wonderful time and take care and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.